Coach, a very difficult loss against the Citadel. I'd imagine job one for your staff is to get the guys back in game mode because you got to keep playing.
Oh, no doubt. Have a difficult challenge with Mercer coming in. The Citadel game was a great game. We played at an extreme sense of urgency. We prepared really hard. We came out and we played against a quality football team, undefeated, top 5 in the country, and we had our opportunity. Turnovers, and I said it last week, I said the team that turns the ball over the least will win. And Citadel, they had turnovers, but they had less than we did. And it's one of those games that boy, we could have and we should have and all that, but the bottom line is we didn't. And the big focus right now has to be on Mercer and the remaining games of the season. There's still a lot to shoot for. Our goals are still very high, and we're going to continue to get better, and that's what we've got to do if we want to win as far as the games that are coming down the road. So it's not the easiest thing to do, but it's a must. You got to do it.
We talk so often about perspective, and your team gained that when Michael Roach had to stop playing football after the Tennessee Tech game, and now you have another player, John Patterson, injured against the Citadel, had to have neck surgery, and again, another perspective situation. What was it like for you and the guys to go through this?
Difficult, very difficult. And initially, we thought the injury was a shoulder, the way that John came off the field and was holding his arm. And then later on, we found out that he had sustained an injury in his neck. And thank God that everything has worked out. He's had surgery, he's had the repair, and he's up walking now. So 2 miracles in 1 year. And I told the kids, I said, hey, this game is pale compared to what happened on the field, the doctors, and the way that it turned out for John. And we're just thankful, very thankful.
Back to football, Brandon Goodson had a couple of pitches that got away from him, and obviously the Citadel took advantage. Mm-hmm. What would you like to see him take away from that game in terms of his decision-making process, in terms of his growth as a quarterback?
Well, I think the big thing is if you're a quarterback and you have the football, somebody's after you. And there are certain situations, quite frankly, he knows it. You could tell when he came to the sideline, he knew exactly that, the decision that he made on that one was bad. We constantly tell him, if you can't pitch the football, put your foot in the ground, go north. And I would say if he's heard that once, he's heard it 5,000 times. But, it comes down to you're in a moment. You're in a pressure situation, and his deal was 1,000%. I want to do everything I can do to help win this game. And you make a bad pitch, their player makes a good play, and he bats the ball, catches the ball, and all of a sudden, we help him out. And Citadel's too good to help out.
All right, you get Mercer this week. A year ago at their place, you win in overtime by a single point. What do you recall about that game, and your thoughts on what Mercer does? They ran for over 200 yards this past week against Austin Peay.
Well, Mercer and Coach Lamb and his staff do an excellent job of coaching. Bobby's one of those guys, he's going to scheme you. He's going to try to formation you and gain an advantage to attack your defense. Last year it was an unbalanced set, and it created some issues for us. It took us a while to adjust to it. Finally, we got adjusted and were able to slow them down some. We were moving the football effectively, and we end up with an opportunity to put the game away. All of a sudden, the ball goes on the ground, and they get it. They come back. They have a one play and done, and all of a sudden they're up. And we fought back. We tied the ball game. We went into overtime, and defensively we held them to a field goal, and then we were fortunate enough to get it done as far as the touchdown.
Defensively, what do you look for Mercer to try to do? What do they excel in?
Well, defensively, they're big up front. They're a 50 defense, an odd front. Guards are uncovered. The center's covered with a 300-and-some-pound guy. They're stand-up linebackers, inside linebackers, very similar to our guys as far as physical size. And then their secondary is a traditional that it'll be a four-cross look when we're in a three-back concept. And then if we go into the gun, their structure will be four down linemen, two linebackers in the box, and then they'll try to move an extra guy in the box out of the secondary one way or the other.
Stephen, a very difficult day against the Citadel. The defense played very, very well. What has it been like to be a part of this defense this season? Because the difference from last year to this year has been night and day in some cases.
Oh, we're definitely a lot better this year. I think overall we just have a better understanding. We have a lot of great athletes on the defense. I think we just mesh better this year. And I think that's the thing that we've been missing in the past. A shout out to the defensive backs. They've played out of their minds this year, and I think that's made a huge difference.
There seems to be a lot of depth, especially in the front seven. What kind of a difference does that make?
Well, it's great. It's the first year I haven't been hurt at this point, so we're rotating a ton this year. And we have a bunch of guys who can play, a bunch of young guys who've come in and stepped up. And I think everybody knows they can make plays, and everybody trusts each other a lot. And we're going out and we're performing.
It was a tough day Saturday against the Citadel. What was it like in that locker room post-game, and how do you guys pick yourselves back up?
It was tough. I mean, there were a lot of upset guys. There wasn't a word said in the locker room afterwards. But at the same time, we know we're not out of it. I mean, we just have to keep winning, win 4 more games, and we know we're in the playoffs. I mean, and we have to move on to Mercer right now.
What do you recall about last year's game against Mercer? What do they try to do offensively?
I think Coach said earlier they definitely scheme. Last year, the first half, they hit us with a lot of stuff we weren't expecting. But I think we've been a lot better about that this year, and we know what they're going to bring us this year. Last year was a tough game too, a lot similar to the Citadel game this year, except we pulled that one out. But I think we're going to be more ready for them.
David, you've had a big year kicking the ball, but I'm going to start with the hit you made on the Citadel return man on Saturday. You popped the ball out of there. You didn't even play a position in high school other than kicker. So what's that like for you to get in the mix?
Well, it's fun. I like to hit people when I get the opportunity. I try not to. I try to just hit it out the back of the end zone and punt it so they fair catch it. But if I have to, I'm not afraid to go in there and hit people. So I just was trying to force him back to the field, and he kept running at me. So I lowered the shoulder and just sort of hit him.
Did you know you jarred the ball up in the air?
Not originally, but then I saw him without the ball, so I started looking for it. So that's when I figured that out.
You've had a very nice year kicking, but I want to start with the punting because last year you didn't do much punting. This year you've assumed that role. What does that mean to you to be able to punt as well as be the place kicker?
Well, I think it's just sort of comes down to I've put in the work. I've worked a lot with my kicking coach on both punting and kicking, and it's not easy to do punts and field goals because it's a different leg swing, and so it can sort of throw you off at times, but you really just have to focus a lot harder and zone in and just know what you're doing.
Place kicking, first game of the year, you line up for a 62-yarder. Is that a dream for a kicker even to have that type of opportunity?
Yeah, it is. You don't really get to kick long field goals very often, and if you have the leg strength, you want to prove it. So I wish I would have put it in between the uprights and not to the right of it. But, yeah, it's always nice to have the opportunity to go out there and kick, especially long ones.
When it left your foot, did you think it had a chance?
Oh, I hit that one really solid, and I thought it was going to go in. I actually got hit after the play, so I didn't see the ball at all. So I hit it good and was sort of hoping it would go in, but just too straight from that right hash.
You got a pretty nice consolation prize at Western Carolina. You tied the conference record with a 57-yard field goal. When did you become aware it was part of conference history?
I don't think I found out until Brent told me. It was maybe Sunday or Monday when I saw him, and he was like, that was actually tied for the SoCon record. So that's when I found out.